Hi everyone, I'm Karen, and today we're talking wellness with Katherine Fiander. We invited her to the show because Katherine's made some great improvements to her health with food. And Katherine is a diabetic, and she's changed her insulin requirements drastically. So we're going to talk about that, and she's going to share her story today. So welcome to the show, Katherine. I'm so glad that you joined us today because I think your story is going to be really helpful. It's going to show people that you don't have to turn your life upside down and deprive yourself to make major changes. So why don't you just tell us about some weight or the weight that you lost and how that happened.
Okay, I'm 65 years old and I weighed a lot of pounds up till last year, and I've lost 34 pounds since July just by making some drastic changes to my lifestyle. My daughter came home in July and she had some ideas about how I could go very low carb and high fat, and it was scary. I won't lie, it was very scary, but I was ready to make those changes.
So with those changes, Katherine, because her and I have had lots of discussions because Katherine goes to my fitness classes. And in the program that I teach, I sometimes end the class off by talking about some little fitness bits and, the new health paradigm. And of course, people hear things like high fat and so on. They're like, but whatever I brought up in the class, Katherine was always the person that came up and added to what I had to say. So I knew that she knew a lot about this, and she was learning it through her daughter. So at least you can come away from this and know that this is not something that I made her do. But we want to share her story because this is exactly what we want to promote. And it's not about a specific diet. It's really some gradual life changes that are going to work for you. So just tell us about the insulin issue. And
2.5 years ago, I lost my husband, as most people know. And I kind of went off the rails. I've been diabetic for 25 years, and that was spiraling out of control. I was doing 70 units of nighttime Lantus, and I was doing anywhere from 10 to 26 units of mealtime insulin. I was topped out on metformin. I was on high blood pressure, cholesterol pills, you name it, I was on it. And I think when my daughter came home with this suggestion, and it was my choice to do, I think I was ready for it at the time. So I won't say I wasn't scared because I cried for about 2 weeks. The thought of losing bread really scared the living daylights out of me. And I know that sounds funny, but it's true. And I'd been through a lot of change, so more change didn't seem like something I wanted to tackle anymore. But I said, okay, we'll try it. I'll give it my best shot. The first week was really rough, I won't lie, because I was still trying to take my mealtime insulin and I was crashing 2s and 3s. So I stopped pretty much right away. I haven't had any Nova Rapid or mealtime insulin since July. That went in the fridge and hasn't been moved since. Over the course of the last few months, I have managed to drop my dosage from 70 down to 12 to 14 nighttime, and I'm down to 2 pills on my metformin. Some of the other pills have gone too, but
so would it be safe to say you're probably taking about 10% of the amount of insulin that you used to take?
oh, that or less. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome,
Oh,
right? Because
and I feel better. Like I feel better. I mean, I was always told diabetes was progressive disease. I didn't realize that it's more of a dietary disease. And I know, being diabetic for 25 years, you wonder why I didn't know that. But I didn't.
you wouldn't, because the new paradigm has brought this to light, and there were a lot of things that it's like anything. Everything changes. What people have studied and learned, 20 years ago has changed drastically. So how would you have known that? But anyway, that is what's happening today with diabetics. They're finding with the higher fat diet and the lower carb diet,
reversible.
it's changing their insulin response.
Completely reversible. I am walking proof that this is reversible. I am in the process of reversing my diabetes by this lifestyle change. I don't have as much inflammation because obviously I'm not taking as much insulin. I gave up bread. Yes, I did. And it made a huge difference within, I'd say, the first 2 weeks. I felt the difference. I didn't feel as bloated. I didn't have as much inflammation. I have bad knees, so that's always an issue. I didn't have as many aches and pains. And that was just the one thing that I really noticed. And then again, I was getting threes, fours, fives in sugar readings, and I haven't seen those since I became diabetic in the first place. I was being really careful. So I was eating way more food, enjoying it more, and feeling very satisfied and not deprived. And I was actually, I've been mind blown pretty much since July, yeah.
But that's wonderful, Kathy, because a lot of people uh, they just assume that if they want to lose weight or change or feel better, that they have to make these compromises and they have to deprive themselves in some way. When in fact, I know we changed eating a few years back in a similar way that you have, and we did it for other health reasons. And of course, weight just started falling off,
Yeah.
just falling off us, and that wasn't our goal at all.
No.
Actually, we sometimes worry that we're too small because we can eat all these calories now
I know.
and
It's
nothing, and we're not deprived.
No,
We're
not
always
at all.
feeling very satisfied, and that's the wonderful part, because I think most people assume that there's a lot that they have to deprive themselves of and do without.
Yeah, well, that was where I was. And then, like I said, my daughter came home with a lot of coping strategies. I took a lot of the meals that I was used to cooking and pretty much turned them on their heads, but adapted them to what I was allowed to have. And now I don't look at what I'm not allowed to have. I look more at what I'm allowed to have. So my thought processes have changed. And for me right now, this is about 90% mental because I have to be on board with this. And the more I didn't do it for the weight loss. I really truly didn't. I did it because I felt so sick. And the weight loss has been a really nice perk. Won't lie, I'm enjoying it. I can shop in stores now that I couldn't shop in before, and I like spending money, don't we all? But I feel better, and I think that's why it's easier to stick to it. And I'm certainly not deprived.
As you mentioned earlier, your goal wasn't to lose weight.
No.
So tell us about some other things that you've changed, like maybe you're eating more fats now, like some of the
Yeah.
foods.
Oh, I gave up bread, rice, pasta, all grains, any sugar, all processed foods. Basically, I went whole food. I eat a lot of cabbage and broccoli and cauliflower. Um, if I have a sandwich, and I still do like my sandwiches, but they're not on bread, they're on lettuce now. Hamburgers are on lettuce. Everything, fajitas are on lettuce. So I've adapted a lot of the recipes. I eat more avocado. I cook with real butter. I pour high-fat whipping cream, 35% whipping cream into my coffee so I get the fat. And that's why I don't feel really hungry. I find the fat is, my daughter says that protein is a goal. Protein is a goal. Fat is a lever to get you from the point A to point B. The fat will satiate you faster than anything else. And if you're hungry and you're not really hungry, you think you're hungry, have a half of an avocado, and within 10 minutes you're fine.
Wow.
So, and she's right. I've proved it more times than once, because some days I get up and I'm really hungry, but I want to push myself to go a little further. So I'll have a half an avocado. I'll maybe have a coffee with the high-fat whipping cream in it, and I'm fine then till supper. I'm good. I don't
Kathy,
feel hungry at all.
you just taught the How to Change Your Life course. I mean, really, that was a lot of really good information that you had there. That was
And
perfect.
right now it seems so simple to me because I'm actually living it every day. Before, when I started, it was very complicated and I felt a little overwhelmed. And now I just do it by rote. I don't even think about it now.
That's awesome.
Planning is a big thing. Planning is a huge thing when you're trying this. You have to I usually keep 4 to 6 hard-boiled eggs in the fridge at all times. I usually keep whole, like, turkey breasts that I've cooked so that I can have a sandwich really fast or a really quick meal, because you miss takeout a little bit, because of those convenience meals. And with this diet lifestyle change, you don't really have the convenience of going to a takeout because really there's nothing there for you that's good.
That's the big thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and
Having real food as
Yeah.
opposed to quick foods.
And I shop the outside edges of the grocery store, so the fruit and veg, the meat, and some of the frozen vegetables and stuff. That's where I shop now. And the health food section, of course, for the cream and stuff like that. But I find when I first went in, it was like torture because I wanted to buy all the stuff I wasn't allowed to have. But everything else in the middle, I've come to realize is actually a science experiment. It's really not food.
It's man-made stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
It's in a box.
yeah, started checking some of the dressings I was using on my so-called good salads. Was propylene glycol in it? Propylene glycol is antifreeze. Yeah, no. Thank you.
Awesome. And that's the other thing. You become more aware, don't
You
you?
do,
And
yeah.
the more you seek, the more you'll learn.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. Maybe you could share with our audience. And I have this question because I see her every couple of days. She comes to my classes. So
I do.
she talks a lot about recipes.
I have a sausage dish that I like to make, and it's basically Italian sausage mixed up with some cabbage and cauliflower and broccoli. I pour a little bit of sesame oil over it, kind of gives it an Asian flair. I like it, and I can sit down and literally eat a full frying pan full. I think I'll only eat half tonight, and I'll save the rest for tomorrow. No, I generally finish it.
And there's no weight gain, right?
No, absolutely none. And desserts, that was where I thought I'd miss my sweets. But Pinterest is a great friend. It can also
It
be,
is.
you have to know who you're looking for. My daughter gave me a Carolyn Ketchum bakery cookbook, for baked goods. And I promised myself I'd go through one page at a time. And I make some really good desserts. I don't feel deprived at all. Almond flour and coconut flour for baking. I'll never go back to flour. I did a lot of baking before Christmas because I wanted to get through Christmas without going off the rails. And my daughter and I, she lost a quarter of a pound and I lost a pound. And we ate like desserts every night. Every night. And the two of us are sitting back thinking, well, we've gone off the rails again, but we didn't. We really didn't.
Well, and the other thing is that a lot of things, change physiologically once you are no longer dependent on carbs. There are a lot, like the way your body deals with fats and sugars is completely different now. But you become fat adaptive and you're, I guess, a much more efficient fat burner than you were when you started.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at right now because obviously if I'm not hungry, I don't eat. That's pretty much where I'm at. If I can push my lunchtime to between 12 and 3, I'm okay with that. If I'm hungry, if I get up in the morning and I'm hungry, I eat. If I'm not hungry, I don't eat. And I feel more in control with what I'm doing. I don't feel deprived. I don't feel like I'm suffering because I'm not. And for me, this is more sustainable. I do not want to be that person that goes to a wedding and can't have that piece of cake. And I don't. Like I said, I got on this low carb, high fat lifestyle because of the diabetes. I'm staying on it because it's working. The weight loss was a really nice side effect, but that wasn't where I was at.
What about energy, Kathy?
Oh, Lord. I'm lucky if I get 6 hours sleep a night. My head doesn't stop, and I'm on the go all the time. I have way more energy. I started exercising. Well, Karen's doing 2 classes a week here in Massey Drive, so I'm usually early, where before I was like, I don't want to go. Now I'm up there 15 minutes early. Started walking over at the Pepsi Center a couple of times a week, and I swim out in Stephenville once or twice every so often, and that's been so I'm way more active. And
This
I
is
feel
great.
because I don't hurt as much.
So there.
Yeah.
This is wonderful. This is a message that we want to put forth because we have somebody here who's very excited about what she's done. She's lost all kinds of weight. She's changed her health.
I have.
She has lots of energy. Anyway, Kathy, I really love it that you came today, and we learned so much. I think a lot of people will come away from this and be tempted to
I hope
change.
I can inspire somebody to, at least make 1 or 2 changes. Just get rid of the wheat. Even just one thing will make a difference. It really will.
Absolutely.
And you would be very surprised. Like I said, I've been mind blown since July. You ask my daughter, she'll tell you every time I get on the phone, I can't believe this is working. But it is. And I can see me sticking with it. I really can. I've only been doing it 6 or 7 months, but it feels right. It's the first thing I've ever done that felt right.
That's because it's not a diet,
No,
and it's not a trend. It's actually doing with your body that which was meant to happen.
Yes,
It
I
really
agree.
is. It's what humans were meant to do.
I know. I won't starve to death if I miss a meal, I'm sure of it.
Thank you for coming, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for having me.
That was great.